Hey, how we doing? It's JJ. Okay, I've probably got about 5 minutes before an airplane comes over the top of me. So for those of you that have followed me for a long time, this is what some of you may call the airplane wood. But to a lot of us, it's known as Hitch Wood. It's a place that I've brought you to many times before, but I'm come here for a very specific reason today. And that's because last weekend, one of my friends, one of the guys who's in my group on Facebook, had done an overnighter here, and he come across a camp and he hadn't quite sort of recognised it because it had sort of changed. And I have used this particular wood and this place I'm about to show you in a minute many times before, but it's changed. So it's a debris shelter. It's a place I know really well. I've used it myself. A lot of the other guys who come here as well have used it on many occasions, but it's been done up apparently. It's had a conversion. It's been converted. So we're going to go and see whether that's actually been an improvement or they've actually made it worse. So before the next plane comes over, then I'll pop this on hold, wander my way up there, and I'll bring you back in. Quite nice to see the deer. Obviously I just remained really quiet. I stood behind a tree. I saw them. Quite a few females with young with them. Lovely colorations on them, so I had to film that. Another airplane's just gone over. We're not too far from the debris shelter. The deer have gone over that way, and the debris shelter is just there. So I'm quite happy just to raise my voice and that again. I've captured a deer on film. I'm just going to make them aware that I am here so they can move off to a bit more protection. And let's get over to that debris shelter. Interested to see what they've done with it. Okay, well, this certainly doesn't look like the debris shelter of old. I will insert some pics before of what it looked like after this little segment. Let's just wander around here. The original part is still there. That is the old original bow that's had a tarp over it for about 4 years or so now. But they've brought it out this way and they've now covered it. Let's just bring you around here. Interesting. Well, I can just tell by looking in there someone's been here recently. Let's just pop this on pause a second. Right, that is the original structure. See that tarp running over a bow down there with the staves put down it and then a load of debris behind it, and they've actually cleared that out pretty well. Now you're easily going to sleep one there, and then you could easily sleep another one under there, feet end, head end, and then I'm just gonna bear with me. Sleep one more down there with some kit. Now listen, I am not surprised by this. Some guys have obviously spent a bit of time here and they've left their cans and that here and an empty water container, and I'm alright with that. Do you know what, I'm actually alright with that, because they've left them here rather than just throwing them outside. But there is this is the original fire scrape that would have been in front of the original bow, and they've kept that there. Now me and Glenn, who come here quite a bit with some of the other guys, we noticed this last time that there was, can you see this? This now runs along here, it's obviously covered up with debris. This is part of an old poncho or a pash palaka, and they've covered that in debris and that as well. Yeah, could quite happily have a really small fire there with it coming up, drifting up. There's a plane coming, hang on a second. See, I reckon you'd fit 3 easily in there. You could do a small fire in there, which they obviously have done recently, fairly recently, because those burnt bits are actually still a bit damp. If you're sitting down in there, yeah, you're kind of hidden. You've got this little entranceway into it. Do you know what? That's not a bad little job, actually. Not a bad little job. And then just outside, there's this log here, which they've obviously moved. And they've obviously had a little fire just sitting out here. And they've actually left some wood. So the guys are coming here pretty frequently, I would say, to have got that done. Now we reckon we actually know who's done this, because there's myself, there's Glenn, there's about 3 or 4 other guys who come over here regularly. We brought Phil here a few months ago, and when we were on the camp here in the winter, we come across 2 guys that we kind of know. And without saying the names, because I know you still catch a bit of my media, we reckon this is 2 guys that we've met in the woods before. No one's actually got ownership of this original debris shelter. It's been here about 5-6 years or so. I've come along and I've redone the tarp and that a little bit and covered it up before, and other people have, and I've brought people in here and we've tidied it up. I'm not actually that bothered about finding those empty cans of Heineken today. It's not the best lager in the world, let's be honest. But they've obviously been here just recently. Can't educate everyone. If you carry it in, it's heavier. If you've drunk it, it's lighter, and you've peed it up against a tree, you're lighter to go out as well, so carry it out. But that's not what this video is about. Sometimes you actually come across something in the woods and you're not happy with it. But they've actually done a really good job on this for what it is. What's my overview of it? Well, the original debris shelter was pretty cool in its own right, and I actually really liked that, with just that single bow, and there was only room for 1. So obviously if there's a group of 2 or 3 coming and you find this, or you know of it and you've used it before, what are you going to do? You're going to make it bigger. It kind of sits all right into the environment. There's a couple of these bits. I mean, this is all dead material. This is all dead material. Okay, I've had a good wander around. They've not cut down any live branches or anything like that, and I wouldn't expect them to, especially if it is the 2 guys that I think it is. And sorry, Glenn thinks it is as well. But there's a couple of these bits, you can just see these high ones kind of sticking out. they could be cut down. Just keep it regularly topped up with some leaf litter, but obviously don't take too much from one area at a time, because the leaf litter, the leaf debris on the floor is actually an important habitat for insects and that. But that's not bad. I'm actually alright with that. I think I'm going to have a brew in there and I'm going to get some pics so you'll be able to compare what it looked like before with what it looks like now. So I'll actually take my hat off to you and say, you've actually done a decent job. Just carry out your stuff. Just carry out your empty lager. Maybe we'll meet you on a camp here sometime. And we won't educate you on leave no trace, because you should actually know that already. What we'll educate you on as you get older, as you start to appreciate a better brew. Not Heineken. But there you go. Sometimes you come across a debris shelter that's actually had a little bit of thought and some good practice put into it. So I'm alright with that. I'm going to use this. I know other guys are going to use it because nobody actually owns it. It's a private wood. Happy days. I'm alright with that. This wouldn't actually make a bad camp. Be cosy in here with free. That back part there where somebody else, I reckon it's somebody else has been here and had a few beers. I've got my feet in the fire pit area. Damp. The little fire bit that's out there, that's damp as well. I just reckon somebody else has been here, seen this, come up and had a few beers. Airplane. Airplane's passed. This has been quite sympathetically done, and that's why I reckon it is two guys. We think it is. Not a bad area for a little day camp. I'm sitting in here now. My head is not above this, especially on this side. Sympathetically done. If you're on the other side of this and you're about 20 or 30 meters away, I don't think you'd actually know what it was. It just looks like a couple of fallen down tree trunks with a load of leaf litter on it, and you'd walk past it. So they've done alright. I think we'll have to get the other guys up here. They've lashed it together. They've used what they can in terms of leaf litter, connecting boughs together. There's some paracord here. All looks reasonably fresh. But they've not used any live trees. They've used what's around, what's available. And I like it. So not everything you see that you come across in the woods is by people that have no respect. Happy days. It's not a bad little area. There's a bit of a breeze. Can't feel that on me because I'm sat in here. Sat here for a brew. Happy days. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to crack on with this. I've brought a book to read. I'm just going to enjoy my time. So, catch you later. and we'll stop that as the next airplane comes in. Bloody Luton Airport.